Hello, good morning, and it's your man, your man, not your boy, Evans from Kenya. So today I want to talk about Julius Malema. In this channel we talk about Julius Malema a lot, and also other African leaders. So in one particular instance, Julius Malema is speaking to some South African leader, an authority in South Africa. A man who is a very interesting man, actually. He's the Zulu king, So Zulu is one of the big tribes we have in South Africa. Actually, Zulu is the major tribe in South Africa. And South Africa is ethnically divided, racially divided, and tribally divided. I know I've said tribal and I've said ethnic. I've said this for a reason. So Julius Malema was sending warning to this Zulu king. Julius Malema thinks that the Zulu king deems he has the traditional powers that he used to have, because before the coming of the white man, before the coming of the colonizers and the imperialists, Africa was being ruled by chiefdoms, and it was being ruled by kingdoms. As we know, Zulu was a kingdom. It was not a chiefdom. So people are still living in the past imperialistic ideologies, but today we are in the modern times. Past imperialism should not present an opportunity to oppress people in the present. You don't have that authority no more. So here is what Julius Malema told the guy, and then after this I'll be giving you my critical analysis, my thoughts actually. So let's dive in and get to see what Julius Malema told this Zulu king, and I'll have a lot to tell you.
Actually, one white fellow was trying to make a joke and said, if we had known democracy was going to be this nice, we would have given it to you before 1976 to avoid killing of people. Why? It's very nice for them. They can now open Pick and Pay in Soweto. They couldn't do it in the past. They can now open ShopRite in Toyando. They couldn't do it in the past. And their opening of these shops in the black townships has led to the closing down of spaza shops and making those small black business people in those townships and rural areas more poorer. That's why democracy is so nice for whites. They would have given it to us in 1970 had they known it was going to be this nice. Chief, there is no urban or rural land in our vocab. There is South African land. All of it must be taken, and the state must be the custodian of that land and reallocate it to our people, and preference given to the previously disadvantaged people. That includes the land owned by Ingonyama Trust. That includes the land owned by Hosi Tony Ramabulan, Kotsikulu Ramabulan. That includes their land. That includes the land of our king in the Eastern Cape, who's in prison now. Dalinje, he's our king. No prison can take away your blood. King is blood. Kingship is blood. He's a king in prison. That includes his land. All of it. And if the land in the hands of the chiefs and the kings is meant to benefit the people, the state can still do that. Unless it's meant to benefit the elite found in those tribal arrangements. But if indeed its intention is to benefit ordinary people, the state can do that. Let's not talk war. Let us not beat war drums here. Let us come up with superior argument on why it shouldn't be done like that. We love the Zulu king, by the way. We support him. We gave him cattle. But we can disagree with him. And we should do that. We should do that. There are no holy cows in this country. We must debate issues openly, including disagreeing with the Zulu king. Democracy means that. We must never fear. Anything that seeks to instill fear is undemocratic and should never be celebrated. It's undemocratic and should never be celebrated. The Zulu king must call for engagement with regard to the land. He must be respected. He must not be feared. No one. I only fear God. I don't fear anyone. If it means death, let it be. Why should we be intimidated here and be threatened for thinking? We have never promised war to the Zulu kingdom. We have never promised war to the Afrikaners. We have never promised war to the whites. We have called for engagement. So why should the response be, leave what you are doing, otherwise you will meet the unexpected? Hey, what type of language is this in a democratic South Africa? No one is talking war here. Everybody is talking about how do we get the Zulu people, the Venda people, the Xhosa people benefiting from their land. No one is excluded here. No one. So we are saying, let there be a peaceful engagement. Let us not talk war. Impi ya bulala ungayijagi. There is no army which will go against the Zulu people. No army at all. There's no police which will go against the Zulu people. The Zulu king must be aware that anything else that seeks to put blacks against blacks will just lead on black violence. That's what they are calling for. Because there's no army. The people who support the expropriation of land without compensation, they will have to defend themselves for their thinking. So we want every Zulu-speaking person in South Africa to get a piece of land. To get a piece of land. We want all of them to get a piece of land. So if the king thinks this is the best way to give the people land through Ingonyama Trust, let the king come and make such a submission and persuade the EFF. And persuade the ANC and persuade Parliament. The king should be encouraging dialogue in South Africa because of the experiences he had had himself in KwaZulu-Natal. He should be encouraging dialogue. There's no any other way out of this except dialogue, not violence. Comrades, let's be clear here. We should never be intimidated and should never tiptoe around people who want to threaten us with violence. Never. If we die today, if we die tomorrow, if we die at any time, we should die with our boots on so that the incoming generation can respect us and continue the struggle. If we are going to be scared because the Zulu king is angry and says, leave this thing, then no one is going to inherit this struggle because they will all be scared. Some of us are still shocked, why are we still alive? Because when we joined this thing, the highest price was death. The second price was prison. So there shouldn't be any amount of intimidation that scare fighters and those who believe in expropriation of land without compensation. I'm shocked with the... Anyway, I'm not shocked because I said this before. And those who care to keep archives can go and search the... I said the Zuma people who are supporting Nkosazana do not mean it when they say expropriation of land without compensation. They don't mean it. I said it. And if you doubted what I said, look at the KZN ANC today. They are tiptoeing now around the issue of expropriation of land without compensation. They are speaking against their own sponsored resolution. Why? Because they never meant it. They all just wanted the votes for Nkosazana. Thank God they failed. They failed. Sitle Zigalala. Why is there no any disciplinary action against Mkhunu? Mkhunu, who stands there during the state of the province and speaks something completely different from the National Conference resolution of the ANC. When we tell you this ANC is finished, people think we are playing. They do not even have respect of their own resolution. If you doubt it, just look at the KZN ANC.
So, first of all, I want us to look at the white population in South Africa. You know, this report was made in 2023, so it's still fresh and new. So, the white population in South Africa was about 20% during the apartheid era. But most white people migrated soon after the end of apartheid. So, it seemed apartheid was their favorable condition. Some people, it's favorable for them to oppress others, for them to survive. So while they left during the apartheid, they left a white population of roughly 8%, from 20% to 8%, you know. Currently, there are roughly 4.5 million white South Africans. Right now, as we speak, 4.5 million. Down from 20% to 8%, you know. That's a very huge difference. So one of the questions is, what are the racial demographics of South Africa? South Africa racial demographics as of 2017 was calculated that black South Africans were 80% of the total population at 46 million. Black South Africans, 80% at 46 million. That's obvious. This is Africa. So there were 4.5 million white South Africans, 5 million colored South Africans, and 1.4 million Indian and Asian South Africans, you know. So who are these South African people? And I know we know South African. South African is somebody from South Africa, but who are they really? Why is Julius talking like that? Why is he addressing the Zulu king? Why is he not just saying the Zulu person? Why king? Okay, now we are here to answer that. South Africa is famous for its rich culture and outstanding diversity. It is an ideal cultural meeting point of the African continent and a preferred destination for tourists. The South African people are known to be amiable, kind-spirited people with stark contrast. The country is located on the southern African continent, neighboring Namibia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, and Mozambique. South Africa covers approximately 1.21 million square kilometers and borders the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. One of the few countries in the world, the only country in Africa where two oceans meet, one in Durban, one in Cape Town. So apartheid was a system that was implemented, it implemented segregation policies against black South Africans. When the National Party rose to power in 1948 with the apartheid ideology, it legalized white supremacy and racial segregation under the apartheid laws. Different racial groups were forced to live and develop separately and unequally. All intermarriages and social integrations between racial groups were stopped, and friendship with a person of a different race was prohibited. You know, disadvantaging the black majority because they never shared their ruler's skin color. That's so bad, you know. So South Africa's ethnicity is something that is quite relevant to the topic of today. South Africa has a complex society characterized by cross-cutting social divisions based on race, language, religion, color, skin color, class, tribalism, and country of origin. Apartheid created and maintained strict segregated policies that separated black and white residents in South Africa. During the apartheid era, Africans were housed in segregated areas based on ethnic lines and were schooled in ethnic schools separated from Europeans, which are the coloreds and Asians. Language is the most common way of identifying ethnic groups in South Africa. The South African black population had a major ethnic division, especially between the Nguni and the Sotho languages. The Nguni comprises Zulu, Xhosa, Swazi, and Ndebele, while the Sotho comprises Tswana, Sepedi, and Sesotho. So South African tribes. The Zulu are the largest tribe in South Africa. Their language is a language and a part of the Nguni subgroup. In South Africa, Zulu is the most spoken and understood language. The Zulu people mainly live in provinces of KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. The Zulu are traditionally cattle farmers and the males are known to tend to the cattle, and the women would cook, clean, and tend to subsistent crops. The Zulu played a critical role in South Africa's history during the 19th and 20th century. The Zulus were discriminated against and classified as third world citizens during apartheid, but have since gained equal rights. During this time, many black South Africans left their ancestral home and went searching for survival in urban jobs and the country's mines after losing their land during apartheid. The transition from apartheid to democracy in South Africa, in the South African contemporary era, has been heavily criticized by the Zulu community, as the promises of equality have not been met. So, could it be possible the Zulu king is trying to require his land back? He wants what belongs to him. You know, what belongs to Caesar should be given to Caesar. That is how it should be. So, black South Africans live in the cities and across the poorest rural areas. Indian South Africans are concentrated in Durban, Cape Town, and Gauteng. White South Africans are concentrated in the cities, while colored South Africans are scattered from the city to the rural areas. You see, most South Africans live in poor rural areas. The colored are scattered in both rural and cities, while white South Africans live in major cities, a legacy of apartheid. Apartheid is still felt up to date. Why would the native live in the poorest places? The Indians live in Durban and Gauteng. The white person, why would he live in major cities? No problem with living in major cities or Indians living where. But why would the regional inhabitants live in a poor area while the visitors are living in the best places? These are the legacies of apartheid. Apartheid really affected us. And when the Zulu king is demanding his rights, he is talking, there is much that I believe Julius Malema ain't sharing as well. The Zulu king wants what belongs to him back. He wants his land back. He wants his power back. It's unfortunate that he slept and he woke up in the 21st century. We are no more in the 19th century. And this is something that they should realize. All in all, Africans, we should come together to support our brothers and sisters in South Africa to fight all this, you know. South Africa has always been standing for African people. Malema stands for Africans, not only in South Africa, but also in Africa. He is a pan-Africanist in as much as he is a nationalist. That is who Malema is for us. If you love Malema and if you love this channel, do subscribe to the channel. Be a member on my Patreon. Give a super thanks. I will appreciate. So I'll see you in the next video. Yeah. Ta-dang. Stay African.